Jesus freak here. So, getting out and about while the weather's at least reasonable. A few days ago, I started getting the itch to work on a project I've been on and off making attempts at about 20 years. And it's related to an idea I'd had even longer ago when I was browsing through the library as a kid, and I'd see these books about this operating system called Unix. And, it's like, this is the stuff that runs on the big iron, the stuff that costs thousands of dollars a copy. And it always seemed like this magical thing. And then I learned it really wasn't. It was just AT&T was greedy. Which is what led to a number of people trying to get around that by making their own versions, by trying to rewrite it from the ground up or whatever. And you had the Minix project in the Netherlands with Andrew Tannenbaum. You had the new project up in Massachusetts with Richard Stallman. And over on the left coast at the University of California, Berkeley, where they already had their own distribution of Unix, but there were some people wanted to say, let's see if we can get rid of the Unix stuff and rewrite it so we can share it for free, like we're sharing the network stuff that was our own work. And I think it was Keith Bostick that spearheaded that. So he had a bunch of basically free operating systems and cheap operating systems that were everything Unix was. And it's like, why are people paying for this again? Back in about 2005, I think it was, Sun Microsystems released the source code to the Solaris operating system. I don't know how the hell they managed to get the rights to release basically almost the entirety of AT&T's System 5 release for Unix. But they did. Over time, I had the idea, I wanted to try to get back to what it originally was. Back in '89, start from what there was in '89 and then add to it until I had a more or less modern system. But because I hadn't accumulated all the decades and decades of junk that BSD systems, Linux systems, Unix systems have gathered since '89, it would be leaner and meaner. So I set out to try to create my own Unix, basically, but instead of rewriting it, I'd use what was already out there. I knew I didn't have the talent to rewrite it. I will say that, I have more skills in programming now than I did 20 years ago, but I'm still not very good at it. And of course, computers have evolved in the last 25 years or so. I remember, when I was growing up, you saw computers around. It was either Commodore 64s or Apple IIe's, 2C's. Once in a while, you'd see an Atari 400. Those weren't exactly powerful machines. So, here I am, I'm at my keyboard bashing away as I do. Occasionally getting mad and throwing stuff, not literally, you know. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I can't ask for help because who gives a damn what I'm doing? Like, no one wants this. This is more, just me and my alternate history kind of wishful thinking stuff. Slowly it started to take shape. When I started to run the program and saw that pound sign on the screen, I'm like, it works. It actually works. And the more I got working, the more I felt driven to get more working. And I kept pounding away at it, sometimes getting some advice from people who knew more than I did about it. Believe it or not, quite a few of those exist. A few days ago, I saw a login prompt for the first time. And this morning, I did the trace route. So the networking's running, and that was a major milestone, being able to reach out to the outside world through the project I was working on. I still got a long ways.
Wait.
But it's like every little bit. Tav, just a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. Line by line, precept by precept, right? Line by line, file by file, directory by directory. Maybe in a week or two we'll have it with a graphical interface because, I don't have to write most of this stuff myself. It's more about, putting stuff together, finding the building blocks. Is it exactly what I hoped it to be? No. I wanted it to be based on NetBSD, not Linux. So when I decided, the perfect is the enemy of good enough. I said, I'll use Linux because at least I've managed to compile that. I've managed to get it to work on my own. And it's already by itself. I'll use GCC. I don't get as much grief from people over that. Tried using Muscle. Muscle was just too weak for what I needed. Ran into a wall as soon as I tried building a shell. So you know what? Forget this. I know GCC, glibc has what I need to build this. So yeah, does it feel a bit antiquated? Does it feel a bit archaic? Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's built for modern computers. It feels like it was written. Well, it feels like it's a product of the early 90s because it basically is. And I'm probably going to keep it that way. I probably need a couple geniuses to give me a hand in trying to make things a bit more modern, but burn that bridge when I get there. Because I don't want, fancy, shiny, new. I don't need that. The look and feel I'm going for is a common desktop environment. Looks practically like Windows 3.1, or maybe a little more like early OS 2. Part of it was designed by Hewlett Packard. Part of it was designed by Sun Microsystems. Part of it was designed by Digital Equipment. Part of it was designed by IBM. And it really shows a sort of hodgepodge, but it has that early 90s look. I like it because it looks like that. Anyway, I'm going to hit the stores, grab a couple things, I guess. Jesus, freak out.